Welcome to our 360-degree feedback and personal learning plan podcast. Our group members is me, Andrew Brook, Josh Patel, and Jack Gordon. The purpose of this podcast is to discuss the feedback we receive from the people in our lives, identity, our central themes, share our personal balance sheets, and explore our learning goals. After each person shares, we'll also respond to each other, talk through similarities, blind spots, and ways we can support each other. So now we're going to start with step one, where each person will share who they interviewed and the main themes that came from their feedback.
Alrighty, do you want to go first, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll start us off.
Awesome.
So for this, I interviewed 6 people from different areas of my life, so I can get a broader understanding of how those others experience me. I wanted to choose people who know me in different ways, including my family, relationships, family, work, and other leadership settings. The first person I interviewed was Liz, my girlfriend, because she sees how I handle stress, goals, relationships, and my everyday life. She had a close perspective on how I treat others and the effort that I put towards and how I care about her. And then the second person I interviewed was my mom. I chose her because she has known me my entire life and has seen me in my growth over time. She can speak to who I've been since I was younger, how I changed, and how I show up for my family and my future goals. And then the third person I interviewed uh, was Matthew. I work with Matthew in real estate development. He's seen me in a professional setting. I chose him because he can speak to my work ethic, responsibility, how creative I am, and just how I handle tasks in a work environment. And then the fourth person I interviewed was Bellamy. He's my roommate and also was my freshman year roommate. Chose him because he had lived with me during different stages of my life in college, see how I handle stress, school, friendships, personal growth over time. And then the fifth person I interviewed was a close friend, JT. He's from my fraternity. We both relate through music, friendships, and just a bunch of shared experiences. He knows me socially, personally, and how I interact with people, how I communicate and show up in my fraternity and friend groups. And then the last person I interviewed was Bobby. He's also close to me in my fraternity. He was the president of this fraternity and has both been, people both look up to us as leaders. And I chose him because he understands leadership, responsibility, and how people show up in different ways. And then, so those were my 6 people. And then for each of them, I asked the same questions so I can kind of get a common understanding and kind of see where I kind of relate. And the questions I asked were 3 things you appreciate most about me. Is there anything you can do to be more effective? Describe me in a few words. And what do you notice or experience when interacting or working with me? So one major theme from my feedback was that people see me as very driven and goal-oriented. Liz said she appreciates how driven and noticed that I put a lot of effort into my work and everything I do. My mom said that with college and work, I give it 100%. Matthew said when I put my mind to something, I can accomplish anything. Bellamy described me as committed and dedicated, and Bobby described me as reliable and someone people naturally look up to in the fraternity. And JT described me as genuine, ambitious, and easy to connect with. And these themes stood out to me because it connects directly to my personal vision. I want to build a life around success, freedom, business, and adventure. So it makes sense that these people see drive as one of my strongest traits. In my personal vision essay, I wrote about success through my own business and investments, while also having the freedom to explore the world and stay active. Being driven is one of those traits that can help me get there. At the same time, this theme also connects to one of my growth areas. My drive helps me move forward, but I can also put a lot of pressure on myself. And I learned that I need to keep using my ambition in positive ways without letting it turn into stress or overthinking. And then the second theme was dependable and responsible. Another major theme was that people view me as dependable and responsible. Liz said I'm very dependable and that she can always count on me. My mom talked about my responsibility and said I can take care of things with detail. Matthew described me a man as my word. I'm punctual. Bobby also sees me as someone who follows through and take responsibility seriously. This feedback matters because dependability is a major part of leadership. If people trust that I can follow through, then they're more likely to rely on me and respect me. This also connects to my professional goals because in finance, real estate, sales, entrepreneur, people need to trust that I will do what I'll say and what I'm going to do. And this theme helps to see that people not just view me as someone with goals, but someone who takes action and follows through. And then my third theme was caring, kind, and loyal. Liz said that I'm very caring and that I always lead with kindness. My mom described me as someone with an old soul who cares deeply about family and friends. Bellamy described me with words like love, caring, and commitment. And JT also sees me as someone genuine and someone who cares about the people close to me. This theme was important to me because sometimes I focus so much on work, school, and the future that I forget about people and how I actually treat them. And hearing this feedback reminded me that relationships are a major part of who I am. And I don't want to create success only for myself, but for the people around me and create meaningful relationships. And this also connects to resident leadership because leadership is not only about performance or results, it's also about how emotionally connected, trustful, and how people feel when they're around you. And then my fourth theme was positive energy and resilience. My mom said that I take life as it comes, and that is inspiring and refreshing. She also says that I try to live every day to the best. Bellamy described me as resilient and Liz said I'm always ready for the next thing that comes my way. JT also sees me as positive and down to earth. And this feedback just showed me that people experience me as someone who really want to keep moving forward and that even when life is stressful or uncertain. I think it also connects to my personal value of adventure because I always want to try new things, travel, and keep going. In my vision essay, I wrote that I want to live a life where I stay active, explore the world, and continue pushing myself. And at the same time, the theme has also made me think about how I handle stress. And it just means that resilience is a strength, but I need to make sure that I'm not just hiding stress and pushing through to deal with it. And then my fifth theme, creative and problem solving. So Liz said I'm good and genuine with ideas and that I'm good at evaluating my options before making a commitment. Matthew described me as creative and crafty. My mom said Bobby also sees me as someone with good ideas and cares about things going the right way. And this theme connects to my goals because I want to build businesses, invest, and create a life that gives me freedom. Being creative and problem solving are also strengths that are good for the future. I don't want just one traditional path. I want to build something that fits my values and gives me flexibility. Whether I'm working in real estate, finance, technology, starting my own business, I think through these options and want to create creative solutions that make me more effective. And then my last theme 6, is stress, overthinking, and speaking up more. So the biggest growth theme I was learning to manage was stress and just overthinking and wanting to speak up more. Liz said I could be more effective by not stressing about things so much and taking everything in stride. Bellamy said that I should step back, calm down, remember that simple is good sometimes. Matthew said don't be shy and encouraged me to break out of my shell more because he likes hearing me talk and others think I do too. JT also sees me speaking up more and being more confident. This theme has really helped me see that my strengths can also become weaknesses if I do not manage them. My drive can turn into pressure. My thoughtfulness can turn into overthinking. My desire to make the right decision can also make me hesitate or hold back. It also connects to energy rising, that this idea of emotional energy can either be avoided or transformed into growth when people are becoming more aware of their patterns. And one of the most important things for me, it gives me a clear definition and direction for my personal learning plan. And moving forward, I want to manage stress better, trust myself more, speak up more confidence, and become the person I describe in my personal vision. I also need to trust that my ideas are worth sharing. So those are my 6 themes.
Okay, I actually have a question then. So basically, you mentioned talking about kind of like dependability, trust, and like that kind of thing as like one of your traits. That was mentioned and how you could kind of apply it to like your real estate career. And so I'm also going to be going into real estate, but I always consider these traits as something that like you kind of have to build up over time. And so like through like goodwill almost like you don't just kind of like build like get this immediately by being like, you know, a trustworthy person. Because everybody kind of has to build their own trust and faith in you themselves. So how do you kind of see this as like a strength of yours that you're able to kind of like keep the trust and like build trust with others? Like what do you do to kind of build trust? And like also like maybe just like some tips on how you would do it in the real estate industry as well specifically.
Yeah, I feel like just building trust has to come down with just being transparent and being honest. And in real estate, there's a lot of kind of bad things and bad deals that can go south really easily. Um, People being dishonest, lying about money, hiding funds, stuff like that. So just making sure when I'm transacting with other people, I'm being transparent, honest, truthful, and just kind of being like, hey, here's what's really going down with the deal, whatever it might be. But I think just honestly, the number one trait is just being transparent and making sure you and the client knows exactly what's going on and there's nothing being hidden, and that just kind of allows that person to kind of trust you. And then when you keep doing it over and over again with multiple people, it kind of just shows your trust and how other people can keep trusting you.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
thank you.
it's seems like it's my turn for me to explain kind of who I interviewed and stuff and whatnot. So for my 360 feedback, I actually went like for quality over quantity in my mind, just because like I wanted to kind of get like the opinions of like the people that kind of mattered the most to me and like the like different sections of my life. Um, and I also just kind of have like a like deep friendship with a lot of people, but like sometimes it like can be like kind of unserious. And so like I tried to pick people that I knew would like really take like this feedback seriously and not kind of like troll and mess around. Um, and so then like I really wanted to just kind of keep it to like my most trusted like people, if that makes sense. So I did one from like different aspects of my life. I did my mom for like kind of family. I did my best friend, Michaela, just for like friendships. And then also I also did a relationship with my girlfriend Dia. So those are kind of the people that I spoke to about this. And so um it was honestly pretty easy to make this decision too, to kind of like pick these three people. Um just because like I know like they'll take it seriously and like they'll really take time to like think about this. um because when you're getting feedback, like it really does matter, like how do I, yeah, like it matters um how much the other person cares to like think about it as well, because if they go really in depth then you get a lot more from being able to like, you know, like be better from what they tell you. And so some of like the central themes that I like got from these interviews was the first one was loyalty. Like especially like the loyalty towards the people that I make connections with. And this was something that all three of them actually mentioned during like my traits that like really stand out to them. So I was pretty happy with that, like that they felt that I was loyal towards them and loyal towards the others that I kind of speak to on a regular basis. And then the next was my dedication to showing up for like others in my life and like prioritizing the people in my life without stretching myself too thin. Um, so that's something I also try pretty hard to kind of commit to. So being noticed for that felt pretty good. Um, and then the next one was my humor. They thought, or well, two of them thought that I was pretty funny. And just kind of like my lighthearted vibes that I mean, like that I'm able to bring can kind of like keep like a group kind of just like happy. Like it helped, and like happiness is infectious almost. Like that's what they kind of said almost, like if that makes sense. And then um for like some of the negative traits, it was that I can kind of have like tunnel vision sometimes, and that like once I'm like locked in on like finishing something or like doing something some sort of way, like it's like hard to get me off of it. um and like kind of like I'm like super focused on like whatever it was to begin with, and like once there's like changes and stuff, like sorry. uh, I think I'm starting to get a little sick. But yeah, so once there's like starting to be like changes and stuff, like I kind of struggle a little bit when it comes to changing course and whatnot. And then also another kind of like negative is that I get a little too passionate when I like start arguing. And for me, it's like I don't even see it really as an argument. Like I'm just like it's like almost like a debate. Like I never take things like too like seriously. And so then like these people like think that they're like having like a full-blown argument with me or like a debate or like a strong like disagreement. And I'm just sitting there kind of like messing around, like, oh, like, haha. But like I also don't really back down as well when it is serious. I hate losing an argument. Okay, so I cut out, but basically what I was saying was about the arguing. Um, like when I start to argue, I can get kind of passionate about it and like really get into it. And one thing about me is like I like don't like to lose an argument. So I'll kind of really like get into um like the debate, and like it can get kind of heated sometimes. Like for me it's like I don't really like think of it as like, oh, like it's like an angry argument, but like I just like I don't know, I guess like it's like pushing the pocket beyond like where it really needs to be at. And so you get to kind of like a point where like the other person's starting to get frustrated, and like I don't really feel that way just because it's like I'm so like it's like that tunnel vision almost again in like this like argument section, but like it just kind of gets to that point um pretty easily, and like something that I just kind of need to work on. And then for like some quotes that kind of supported like these themes and like where I'm getting like this from, um, is so Michaela was quoted saying, "I really appreciate the loyalty you show towards like your best friends." Um, and that's like a pretty simple quote to just have right here, but it's still like, like it's profound when somebody's telling you like they appreciate how loyal you are to them, or at least it is for me, just because it's like I try so hard to like embody that. um and then kind of just like the next quote being like from my mom, like your ability to show up even though you're busy is something that people underrate about you. um and I do think that's true. Like I'm always there whenever anybody needs me to be there, or at least I try to be there, so that was also really nice to hear about myself. um And then another one from Michaela is, I think a word to describe you is funny. You are just constantly able to crack jokes, be happy, and be lighthearted. Um, and this is something that I also got from Dia as well. So, um, definitely, boosted my ego. Now I think I'm some sort of like jokester, funny guy. whatnot. But like being like super serious about it, like I'm super thankful that people like see me as somebody that like they can like get like good vibes from. So um it's I'm just really thankful to kind of have people that kind of view me in like a super positive light like this. Um and so like for like the negatives, it was my girlfriend Dia who said sometimes it can be hard to get me to like decentralize my thoughts like during a project or something like that. It's like I have trouble thinking out of the box or going on to different opinions. And honestly, like this can be true like pretty often for me. Like once like a plan is kind of set, like I put a lot of thought into like how it's going to succeed and whatnot. And so I'm not saying like it's okay to go into tunnel vision, but I think it's just kind of like a place of like me like really just locking in on like how to make the like plan A succeed more than coming up with what could be a plan B. Um and then um a quote about like just like the arguing from my mom was just like arguing with you can be frustrating just because the arguments never really end. And like that one kind of extended, I don't have it written down here in my notes, but like it kind of extended into like sometimes like these arguments will go beyond just like the initial argument as well. Like if I think like if I lost the argument and I think of something that like could have like been a good point, like sometimes I'll still bring it up to her. um and honestly, like I would hate if somebody did that to me. So I definitely like realize now, like I'm like, I really need to work on that kind of thing. But um, but yeah, so just like overall, kind of like on these last two for like why they matter so much, more than like the others is because like everybody loves hearing like good things about themselves, but being able to be told like bad things about yourself and like see it as like valid criticism and just like fix it is so important because I feel like that's how we improve ourselves as humans. And so, um, I actually wanted to connect this to the course readings and the literature, but not really actually, because it's I'm connecting it to the journal and the activity. Um, and so I picked like the journal activities the most just because like for me, like this feedback is mostly about self-reflection. And while I was reading, like I was kind of just reading and like learning, but like I wasn't really like thinking, like because it's like these like texts are already written. And so like it's not as much independent thought about myself as much as like when I was like doing my breathing exercises and thinking about like who I am, where I am based on like some of the stuff that you see in the slideshows in class. So I definitely think that the readings play like a part of it, but I mostly think about like how I could improve myself during those like journals and stuff, or not the journals themselves, but like the activities and whatnot. Um, and so it just really helped me kind of like ground myself. And then yeah, that was pretty much that for me. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, that was really strong. Thank you for providing those themes. Like we had the saying, kind of, you just kind of read about it and said the most important things that came to your mind. And I like the last part about the journals and action applying it. But quick question from me, talking about your biggest weakness and how like, sometimes people can misunderstand you and create an argument. How do you think kind of turn that to kind of a strength and maybe apply it to your career down the road?
Yeah, honestly, as like as a strength, like being able to fight for your clients constantly, I think could be something that I could like use this for. Like, oh, like I'll never back down, trying to get you like the best deal I can, or working my hardest for you. But realistically, like in my personal connections and stuff, like being too over argumentative isn't really like as much of a strength as like I wish it could be, or at least like that I think it could be. Maybe keeping this trait around like until like I start work can like maybe be of use. But I just overall, like, I just don't really see it being more helpful than not, in the long term, especially when it comes to like my personal relationships.
I actually
That
have a
makes
question
sense
for you
for
as
sure.
well, Yash.
Okay.
I was wondering, sort of going off the question that AB asked, are there any other traits that you see benefiting yourself in one category of your life, like career-wise, and then being a negative or a disadvantage in like your personal life? Are there any sort of other traits that you can think of that sort of fall into that?
Yeah, so a trait that I think could kind of fall into that category as well is like my commitment. When I commit to something, I'm like really really into it. And so um if I get into like a situation where like maybe like I'm always at work and like I don't have time to hang out with any of my friends or any of my family members, I don't talk to my partner enough, that kind of thing. I think that like commitment is great as like a overarching kind of like concept of like what you want to be as a person, but overcommitting to something and not committing to the other aspects of your life can definitely, damage you in that way. But overcommitting to your job, like that's like literally like the number one way to probably get better at your job, whatever it is. So you'd be basically sacrificing personal life for that kind of thing. So,
I see. Thank you.
anyways, all right. How about you present your interview questions and kind of how you reflected on your 360 feedback? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So I, like Yash, only interviewed a select amount of people. I only interviewed 3. I interviewed my good friend DJ. That's what he goes by. I believe his name is actually Dylan. But I interviewed my friend DJ. He's a very good friend of mine. He's someone I hang out with often. I interviewed my mom because, like Andrew, she's known me my whole life. She's seen the most amount of my growth and how I've grown. And lastly, I interviewed my roommate, Equinox. I interviewed him because not only is he my roommate, so he sees how I operate on a day-to-day level, but also because he is someone I admire career-wise. He is a very successful brand that is still actively growing and exponentially growing as well. And from those interviews, I was able to gather 7 themes. So my first theme is emotional balance and regulation. I have some quotes from DJ and my mom to support this of having a balanced set of emotions, being able to regulate that around sort of more chaotic, high vibrational, high energy people, and lastly, to be able to feel things deeply. I think this is really a profound and important, and definitely the number one theme for me. I think it highlights my strength amid like uncertain situations, being able to self-regulate, to calm myself down, to be able to be mindful, I think is very important to me. My next theme goes to relational emotional intelligence and or authenticity. I have again some quotes from all 3 people this time. Unapologetically myself from EQ, very genuine, intentional, and honest. And growing up, I was very aware of emotions and my emotions. I think this is incredibly important to be self-aware. Um, and I think my ideal self really thrives relationally, like on the relationship aspect. And so I think this is very important. traits to continue to hone it. The last next we have theme 3, which is humor, theme 4, which is introspection, which I think is important because without introspection you can't really know yourself. Some quotes from my mom are that I feel deeply, I face hard things, I am intentional, and I think that introspection is important because it enables me to know myself better and to understand how I operate better. And without that, I can't really move forward in a positive way. Next theme I have is kindness, caring, and just overall being gentle. So mom and my roommate are, I enjoy you as a person, choosing to be kind, gentle, thoughtful, and I think this is important because of the fact that these all revolve around being compassionate. I think being compassionate is very important to me. Next, we have honesty. Some quotes from my mom are strong moral compass. It's actually from EQ, my roommate, Equinox. I don't compromise. I'm principled, genuine, and I think this is important because it allows me to align my values with myself deeply, authentically, and 100%. My last theme is understanding needs and empathetic to details. Most of these are from my roommate Equinox. Attention to detail, detail-oriented, understanding needs, positive experience, and then my mom also believes I'm very thoughtful, and I think that this is important because it helps boost innovation through social awareness and being able to read people and understand what they're looking for and what they need and how I could best help/serve them. I think my strengths are definitely emotional balance, authenticity, and empathy. I think my weaknesses that I'm taking away from this are consistent small step execution. Um, Sometimes I tend to get lost in the weeds a little bit of my bigger plan, and I'll not be as consistent as I should be or as I want to be. So definitely looking at that and improving upon that. And then another trait that I think I don't want to change and that I think helps me be successful is that depth and understanding of others, that introspection, those principles. All right, and that is it for my section.
Sweet. Thank you for sharing those themes. Let me ask you a quick question. What what do you think the strongest feedback you got from one of your interviewees, and kind of how could that connect to your leader style?
Um, I think the strongest feedback I got was from DJ Dylan James, the boy.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's
So
probably, one of the closer friends, so maybe he has a better understanding. So
yeah, and he's very good at, as I'm sure you know, he's very good at like reading people and like, yeah. So I would say the advice that he gave me was sometimes I tend to be one step higher in the situation than I need to be. Sometimes I tend to overshare or talk too much, which can be kind of both a positive and a negative thing. But I think that was really eye-opening for me because I didn't think of that at all. So yeah, I would say that's definitely the most resonant and like the feedback that stood out the most.
Okay, so I have a question as well. Um, so you talked about kind of like how like people described your moral compass as strong. Um, you also talked about how you like earlier in the semester when we were doing this activity where you kind of crossed out all these traits and stuff, and you actually had your morality at number one as well. Um, can you like describe a time when like maybe like you had to like sacrifice like doing something that would have made you happy for like something that kind of like aligns more with your morals? Because I feel like that's kind of like the main thing of like your ability to show that, oh, like my morals matter more than anything else, is when you're able to sacrifice something for, your ability to uphold them.
Um, Gosh.
Sorry, loaded question.
No. It's not like too loaded. It's just thinking of a time. Um, I can say that there are probably many a time where I've done this, and I think more so when I was younger than now, because I kind of do view that as it depends situationally and contextually, but now I think I prioritize my own. Oh, I have a story now. I think I prioritize my own happiness more over my morals a bit, which is a weird way of saying it, but I think if I'm in a situation where something is either right or wrong, then I'll obviously go with, it being wrong. But I do think that when I was younger, I tended to make things more black and white when they were. And I think that that led me to not being or doing fun things with friends because I was so morally black and white. And really quickly, an example was on a camping trip when I was younger with some family friends, um, like probably like fifth grade, fourth grade. We were playing like flag football, like two-hand touch. Everyone was having fun, but they were like cheating. And so I started crying. I said, "You guys are all cheating. F all of you, fuck all of you." And then I went to my tent and I started reading a book because I was so upset that people were cheating, even though I was having fun.
Were you at least nice at flag football though?
Huh?
Were you at least nice at flag football? Were you good?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I
we love
was
to
I
hear
was
that.
so nice.
We love to hear
I
that.
played it. Hey man, I played pro ball in high school.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
Look at you, man. Well, anyways, I think that concludes part one of our podcast, and we're gonna move into section two.
Okay, now moving on to the personal balance sheets in step 2. So I'm going to start us off here. So with the personal balance sheet, I'm going to start with my assets. So my main distinctive traits, first one is I am driven and goal oriented. I am dependable and responsible. I am caring, loyal, and thoughtful. I bring positive energy and resilience. And then a personal strength, so things I could do better on. I communicate well when I'm confident. I'm open to feedback, have improved at listening to others' ideas. I'm good at building relationships and being someone people can count on. I can appear calm on the outside even when I'm stressed. And I'm even good at connecting with people through shared interests, especially in friend groups and other group settings. And then my enduring depositions, things that support me. I care deeply about the people close to me. I naturally want to grow and improve. I try to stay positive and moving forward. I'm committed when I care about something. I like creating new ideas and thinking about future opportunities. So those are all my main assets. Now let's briefly go over my main liabilities. So my weaknesses, things I know not to do well and I want to do better. Sometimes I stress too much. I can overthink decisions. I sometimes hold back for speaking up. I can make things more complicated than they need to be. I sometimes keep stress to myself instead of talking about it. And then some weaknesses, things I want to change. I want to manage stress better instead of letting it build up. I want to trust myself more when making decisions. I want to speak up more confidently in groups. I want to remember that simple is sometimes good. And I want to be more direct while still being kind. And then my enduring depositions, things that get in my way. My drive can turn into pressure. My thoughtfulness can turn into overthinking. My desire to do things right can make me hesitate. My independence can make me stress to myself. My focus on the future can say sometimes and make it harder than it actually needs to be. And then moving on from the balance sheet, I feel like the biggest thing I learned is that some of my strengths can also become weaknesses if I don't manage them well. It just helped me see the connection between how I see myself and how others experience me.
Okay, yeah. So, I have a question about kind of like you mentioned like how you kind of have strong drive and something I like notice for individuals that have like really strong drive is that they tend to kind of burn out easily just because like they put so much into like what they're doing. So how do you fight being burnt out like and like staying passionate about what you're doing? And also like just on top of that, how do you in a sense like stay passionate even when things might not be going your way? Like when it's just all going wrong. Like how do you stay positive?
Okay, yeah, a couple good points there. Just stay on top of it and kind of just manage myself. Whatever I'm mainly pursuing, depends what it is in everybody's life. But let's just say real estate for me, for example, getting up super early, having to work super long hours, dealing with the heat, a bunch of, I don't know, variables that don't ever really go your way, and you have to figure out how to problem solve on the job site. So just being ready to kind of handle when negative things come your way, being prepared, and just being really on top of things, and then just not letting this kind of sometimes failure deter you, because that's kind of all what it kind of boils down to is you failing at what you like to do, and maybe you kind of reach a point where you can't get any kind of better, kind of no ways you can really think of to improve. So it's really just staying on top of things and just being prepared for whatever might come. And then for your second question about kind of things not going your way, kind of relating to the first one about just staying on top of things, pretty similar, but just always being ready to have another plan. Um, you're never really going to have always going to have things go your way. So just remember to have your backup plan, have people around you that can support you, and just being able to kind of keep that drive there, even if it's not going your way.
Awesome. I appreciate your insight.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I'm actually gonna go ahead and talk about my kind of balance sheets as well now. Um, so for me, my main assets, like kind of as we went over before, It's mostly like all those like kind of social skills that we mentioned, like like funny and loyal and like there for you. I don't know how to like I don't have a better word for that right now in my mind, but you know, just like those things, like kind of all wrap it up. I kind of think of it as like one umbrella of like you know, social ability. Like you or I'm like really good at like fostering a connection and like keeping that connection strong and even strengthening it overall. But I think that like I also do have a lot of drive as well, like you said, Andrew. That's why I kind of asked that question as well, just to kind of see like your point of view on it. Um and so I'm like hoping that like like it was mentioned a little bit in some of the interviews, but like not enough for me to like kind of like really get into it. So I hope that like other people do see that and like recognize like, oh, like he's somebody who does have drive. And it's not just like my social skills that make me like a strong individual. It's like not my only aspect. And then yeah, just like I'm just kind of thankful that like when I self-assess myself, the people closest to me also see me in like a similar way, and they also see it in like a positive way too. So I just think that that's really good in terms of like when I think about my main assets, like I have a realistic view of myself when I hear other people tell me about what they think of me as well. Um,
Okay, yeah, I have a question for you, Josh. You talked about making a kind of that first impression with people and how important it is, and I've kind of realized that too. Like the first kind of couple of times you meet someone, how much of a lasting impact it needs. So, what do you do to make kind of the best impression for when you're meeting?
um, Honestly, if I'm being like 100% honest, I don't really do anything specific. I always try to just be myself. I don't try to change myself based on like what other people think. Just because it's like if that person isn't gonna like get along with me when I'm like truly like, just being who I am, then like it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna be upset because people have different preferences and stuff. But it's like I'd rather know that like, oh, like I can't like really get along with this person in the truest sense of like who I am, and so this like relationship as like a friend or like like relationship or like family whatever like it's just not going to be as close as it possibly could have been. And I think that's okay.
Hmm.
like n- y- I'm really okay with like the idea of like, oh, not everybody has to be your friend, just because I know
Yeah,
like there's so many people out there that can be my friend that like I don't need to be somebody else for approval. But I do feel like where I was saying like, oh, like my mindset needs to switch. I do feel like being respectful of other people is important regardless of if you get along with them in a like a friendly way or not. Like I want my mindset to not make people feel like, oh, like I'm attacking them or anything like that. So that's why I'm really like kind of putting an emphasis on like how I go about like that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
yeah, super, super strong. Just being yourself. I like that.
Alrighty. Jack, how about you, man? Let's hear about your balance sheet.
All right, I went more in depth about my balance sheet on accident during the first section, but to summarize it in a bit more concise manner, I would say that my themes all revolve around internal balance, whether that be emotional regulation, authenticity, the ability to relate to others, introspection, honesty, sort of that moral compass, and understanding other people's wants. Sort of all of those categories to me all revolve around um, internal emotion and understanding other people's internal circuitry. And I also went over the balance sheet in the other section as well. But to summarize that again, briefly, would be that my strengths all revolve around those internal operations and how other people operate, but my weaknesses is that I tend to get in the way of that because there's so much internal a lot of my themes and my strengths are internal based. It tends to get in its own way in my day-to-day life and how I operate. Um but despite that, I do think that I'm overall really grateful and appreciative and proud of those strengths. And that's it for me.
Okay, awesome. Well, I feel like I kind of already asked a question then, earlier when you
Yeah.
were kind of going about that. So I guess we'll just move on to the personal learning plans. Andrew, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll start us off with the personal learning plans. So after reviewing my personal balance sheet, I noticed that my ideal self and real self are similar in many ways. I see myself showing up, driven, caring, dependable, and being creative, and those same strengths show up in my. However, I notice some gaps between who I am now and who I want to become. The main gaps are managing stress, speaking up more confidently, and continually building leadership through relationships. My personal vision is to build a life where I have freedom, adventure, success, and meaningful relationships. In order to get there, I need to build habits that help me handle pressure, communicate clearly, and lead people in ways that are both confident and caring. So, moving on to my 3 learning goals. So, my first one is manage stress and create more balance. Over the next 1 to 2 years, I want to improve how I manage stress and overthinking by using mindfulness, weekly planning, and reflect so I can stay focused without letting pressure control me. And then how this goal clearly ties to my personal vision in 8 to 10 years. So this goal connects to my personal vision because I want to build a life that includes success, adventure, freedom, and strong relationships. I want to succeed in business and finance while still enjoying my life. I need to manage stress better, and mindfulness is important here because it helps create a space between pressure and reaction, which supports more effective leadership and decision making. And my feedback showed that people see me driven, but they also notice that sometimes I stress too much or overthink things. So just learning how to slow down and stay balanced will help me become more effective and allow me to enjoy the life I'm trying to build. And then some action steps. So first, build a consistent weekly planning routine. Plan my week every Sunday. Write down my top priorities for school, work, and my personal life, and break bigger tasks into smaller steps. And use a calendar and planning to feel overwhelmed. And then milestone 2, use mindfulness or box breathing when I feel overwhelmed. Practice box breathing after stressful assignments, interviews, or work. Use my power pattern, slow down, stick to the plan. Take a short pause before reacting when I feel stress, and journal once a week about what caused stress and how I handled it. And then milestone 3, practice making decisions without overthinking every possible outcome. set time limits for smaller decisions, remind myself that not every decision has to be perfect, ask for advice when needed, but avoid seeking too much reassurance, and reflect on decisions after they're made instead of constantly second guessing them. And then some people that can help me is my girlfriend, my mother, Bellamy, even my leadership, 310 team, next gen leaders, close friends, and other mentors.
Let's go. Shout out Leadership 310 Next Gen Leaders. Um,
So so that was my learning goal one. Um, want me to give my second
Actually,
one?
I have a question for you before you move on, Andrew.
Yeah.
Um, you've mentioned a lot of those ideas and techniques about journaling and sort of taking your time before reacting. I'm wondering, do you think, is there a specific situation that you can think of where you wish you had done that?
Yeah, I would say over difficult times or maybe times where I haven't succeeded, I should have kind of journaled those thoughts down and really thought about what I was thinking in that headspace so I can kind of use that for the future and kind of give me a little more guidance and a kind of better direction where to go to see where I actually needed to do better. So that's why I kind of want to have that goal going forward.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you journal?
Yeah, I try to journal every day.
Wait, do you really?
Yeah, this is true.
How long have you been doing that?
Um, I think I think it really kicked into gear this semester, but I've been doing it like since even before then. I
Oh.
find it to be very helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So I had a question as well. If I can just rethink of it. Sorry, I got like distracted by Jax talking about his journaling. Um, it was so you talked about how like you wanted to like be okay with like when you're with your decision making and like like sometimes decision making doesn't always go the way you want it to, right? It like when do you like decide like like this is actually a problem when your decisions continue to like not be like good? Like where do you draw the line of like like you know what actually like it's not okay that I keep messing up. Like I really need to like get this next one right.
Usually after the first time I fail, I feel like that should be kind of enough, but realistically, no, because you're usually going to make the same mistake twice. Um, and there's times where I've made more mistakes. I feel like there's maybe not really a way I draw the line. I mean, maybe after two times, I would start to get concerned and maybe I would maybe not pursue that. And I feel like sometimes you kind of know just kind of in the gut if you're actually able to do the thing you want to do without you know continuously failing. So I would say after a couple times you kind of see where if you can really pursue that in that direction. Um, but still kind of you still have to kind of embody that failure aspect, and that's what's going to really make you better.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna actually go ahead and talk about my personal learning plan now. And yeah. You guys ready to go or what? Here we go.
Let's do it.
So for my like three learning goals, I kind of went about like number one, just strengthening like my bonds to the people that I'm close to, the way they said they appreciated me. Um, and so that kind of just goes about like, you know, what I already had said earlier about like loyalty and that kind of thing. And it's just like when people feel appreciated, like that's good, and I want them to feel appreciated, but I think it's important to make them feel appreciated in ways that they want to be in ways that they want to feel that way, if that makes sense. Um and so just kind of like getting better at the things that like the people in my life that are already important to me kind of appreciate, just like being really really good at that. And then next, I wanted to improve my ability as a communicator. Um and so and it's not like just for like things that are bad, like, oh, like communicate things are bad, but or sorry, I mean like not like that. I'm a bad communicator as is, but it's just like I feel like it's such a good life skill to have. And so like the fact that like it wasn't really something that was mentioned too much during my interviews, that like, oh, like yeah, like he's a good communicator, is kind of like something that I want to work towards. Like I want like people to think of me as a good communicator. So I want to just throw that in there too as like one of my goals. And then lastly, it's like I just want to have like a method. Like I want to like have a method of like locking in kind of like my thoughts and like my mindset to like fix it the way like I was saying earlier. And just kind of like revitalize myself. So maybe like I don't know, like if it has to be like meditation or like prayer or just like, sitting, um or just like, like introspection, journaling, like Jack does, whatever it takes, just finding something and just like really like committing myself to like getting better in the way that I outlined for myself. And then kind of just like why like these things really matter to me so much is if I don't keep doing like the good, um like for earlier, like when I was talking about like the like keep strengthening my bonds, if I don't keep doing the good, like if like like while I'm chasing to fix the bad, I could just end up like doing nothing at all, and that would be detrimental. Like I ruin the relationships I have while trying to, make myself better so that I can make new relationships, and then I end up with none. Oh God, like that's like a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, just really making sure that I'm taking care of the people in my life that I tell that like matter to me all the time, like that I'm showing it to them. And I kind of already went into depth about kind of why I want a communication, but yeah, just such an important skill to have. And I want to commit myself to that. And yeah, and then the learning activity where it's just like I just don't think people consider themselves enough. And so I want to be able to make sure to do that for myself. Um, and then kind of just like some actions that I can like take to kind of fixing it. Um, I think that like strengthening my strengths is literally just all about asking for feedback. This exercise made me realize like I can just do this like regularly. Like I don't have to like have like an assignment telling me, hey mom, like what do you think like I need to work on? Like is there anything that I need to be better at? Like what have I been doing well? Like it's literally just like stuff I can just ask casually, and it's not like it's gonna be like, like so weird almost like. And so asking for feedback is something that I'm going to be continuing to do from here on. Um and so like for communication, I think that like where I kind of lack in this field is like talking about my feelings. I am a huge like person when it comes to like keeping everything in and not like sharing outwards, because like feel like my feelings, if I share them with other people and they're like anything but my negative one, or if it's yeah, just sharing like anything but my negative ones is good. But if I share like the negative ones, I'm like burdening them with like my own like drama or trauma and like thoughts, and it's just like no, like I don't want to like have a bad influence on people, but like just like coming to terms with like it's okay to like talk about it and like share it, because like it really does like lift your own burdens, and like if people care about you, like they'd be willing to listen and kind of carry it with you and help you through it. And then yeah, just like the third action step was like it's literally just starting that practice and staying committed to it. Like I said, um, like the goal in itself is an action step, so not really too much to go into there. Um, and so the people that can really help is like first the people I interviewed, just because I can continue to ask them for feedback and that kind of thing, and they can kind of see where I'm improving based on like what I tell them, like, oh, like this is my goal to kind of go about getting better, and they can like tell me as I'm going. But also like the second like person that I said is actually like everyone. um Communicating isn't like limited to my inner circle, and so just like being like able to kind of like be a communicator with every single person in my life, whether they're like a small acquaintance or like my number one closest person. Super super important to me that I'm able to kind of like do that. So like just like knowing that like, oh, like other people are like tools that I can like they're not tools, but like they're like people that I can communicate with to like hone my skills. Like they can help me get better in that way. And then I save like the most important person for last, and I actually said myself, just because it's the most important person to me, on making myself better, because nobody else is gonna do it for me. Like if I don't sit there and like really like commit myself to being better every single day, like nobody's gonna come and tell me like I'm gonna be better. Like I have to put in that effort every day and be consistent about it. Otherwise, like I'll never see the progress that I want. And like I can say I want progress, but if I don't actually try to make that progress, then it doesn't really matter at all. Like the effort is just as important as the plan. Um, and so like in terms of like who is gonna do it, like who's gonna help me, it's definitely myself. You gotta help yourself, and then from there other people can also help you, because nobody wants to help somebody who's not willing to help themselves. Um, but yeah, any questions or comments if you guys want to just tell me that.
Yeah, that was super strong. Um, I like. I'm gonna ask you a question on the part about when you were talking about people you were connecting with. Maybe relating it back to networking. So trying to get to like, I don't know, maybe what your career aspirations are, or goals, and kind of making people connections along the way. How do you kind of do you differentiate someone you're networking with versus like a friend, or you kind of keep it the same? How would you kind of describe your approach to networking?
Yeah, I think that like tone is kind of just like how it would be. Um, like casual versus like overly casual with a friend versus like keeping it like cordial with somebody who you're like kind of networking with. Obviously, you don't want to like say too much when you're just like creating a brand new connection. But you also want to like tell them a little bit about yourself just so that they can like feel like an emotional bond. And it's like something that I learned from like my boss when I was interning from him. I asked him like why he had his old website still up. Because it didn't really do anything for him. Like it was literally just like kind of just like an about me. And he was like, I actually won a client one time because they saw that and they were like, oh, like, I can relate to him. Like we have a lot of the same hobbies, and like we both have kids, and we come from the same area. And so like being able to create that bond made that person be like, oh, like like this guy, like we could probably get along. And so that was like the small thing when he felt like two people were kind of like the same level of qualified, like just like being able to relate to somebody. And so like I think that being cordial but still being like friendly, that's like the golden space for networking, where you want to be memorable, and and like people remember relatable. um and then with your cat, like your friends that you've already established, like you can literally just say like anything, because like how they are. And so that's kind of just how I see it. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. That's a perfect response. Just being like pretty authentic and genuine, and I really like that example you you provided, because that's really where you can kind of like trust people and find that common ground through those both experiences. Thank you.
Alrighty. Jack, let's hear it, man.
Yeah, before I get into it, I do want to say I really commend what you were saying, Josh, especially that last bit towards the end about sort of the sentiment of the only person who can do it is you. No one's sort of there around to help you. I really appreciate that sentiment. I think that can kind of be frowned upon in our generation, and I appreciate that sentiment a lot. But yeah, let's get into my learning plan. Awesome. All right. So my learning goal, my first learning goal, which is the 1 to 5 years, is sort of I want to have implemented a lot of daily habits. That I kind of there's some that I do almost every day or not every day, and I want to really make those consistently every day. Like I want to do my Spanish lessons, my 10 minutes of Spanish every day for 10 minutes. I want to do my breath work every day. I want to journal every day. I want to do something physical every day. A lot of that kind of stuff. I want to maybe start tracking my meals, or at least some sort of keeping track of my meals every day. There's a lot of little stuff that I want to do to keep track of and to sort of build power patterns to build successful habits. And this ties into what I want to do later in life by sort of building that successful foundation for me to always lean on to keep myself going through those hard times. So my milestones for those would be markers that my progress has grown. So sort of logging stuff down, making sure everything's on track, and sort of seeing that improvement, especially with like working out, like sort of using this is gonna be like technical for a little bit, but like yeah, I mean it's not crazy technical, but like progressive overload and keeping track of the weight and reps, and that way I can actually see my growth on a like week to week basis and how I'm growing. And then I want to do a thing where every month I try to attempt my PR for a whole bunch of stuff for like maybe like mile time or amount of pull-ups, amount of push-ups, bench press, sort of stuff like that. Back squat, just sort of test my PR every month, and hopefully also that can be a bookmark that I can look back to for improvement. My second milestone is going to be sort of breaking apart those bigger goals in life and begin delegating them to different times of the day, different sort of moments in life, and like how I can work towards those bigger goals on a daily level. Sorry, I just got an assignment graded. Oh, right. And then milestone 3, my last milestone for learning goal number 1 is going to be sort of reflecting on this progress that I've made and seeing what I can do to improve this process that I've found myself in. And yeah, that is it for learning goal number 1. I have 2 more as well.
Okay, so this is kind of just like an informal question. But like I just figured I would ask it. So you know how like they talk about like comparison as the thief of joy?
Yeah.
When you're in the gym and stuff, like how do you like I don't know, like sometimes when I'm in the gym and I see like somebody like that's like hella ripped, I'm like, damn, like that's crazy. Like I wish like, I could be like that. But like I probably will never get there. Like how do you like, like avoid like kind of like having that mindset? Um, just
Um,
for like my personal like,
well, Yeah, for me, I'm gonna start with the biggest thing is that I work out at home, so I don't have anyone to compare to. Obviously, online, there's a lot of those comparisons and people like that, and I know that I can, there's like three different body types. I think it's like mesomorph, endomorph, ectomorph, and you can break free of those molds, but it requires so much work. And I think it's for me, I'm a skinny guy and I would like to be bigger than I am, but I don't need to be like some C-bum, like Arnold Schwarzenegger looking guy. I know that's not what I want, and I also know that that's not attainable for me to achieve because of where my body type is at and the amount of time that I would have to put in to do that. That's not like I'm not trying to be a fitness centric person. I'm trying to be physically healthy and physically capable. So I think those are the main two is that I work out at home and I'm comfortable in the fact that I'm not trying to be like aesthetically big. I'm trying to be physically capable. And I think that's like a different kind of strength or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. That's honestly, I don't know what answer I was expecting, but I do like that one, so it helps.
Okay, good.
So, anyways, um, you do we want to just kind of do some closing thoughts and then wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, to wrap it up on my end, I feel like this podcast really helped us with the individual feedback process and really kind of getting to connect with people, and them doing it, just shows like how much they really kind of have influence in your life. And just creating those themes, the balance sheet and the learning goals, and just talking through them really helped us and really helped me see new perspectives and possible blind spots.
totally.
Josh, I don't know if you want to say anything on Jack.
Yeah, I can go. I was just kind of thinking about like the overall, not even just like this like podcast, but like the class as a whole, and just kind of like where my mindset has kind of gone over the semester. I think that like the amount of growth that I've kind of experienced in one semester is pretty profound. And so I think that's like um how do I say it? Like it's like a good sign. It's like making me feel positive for the future because it's like if I'm able to learn this much in like basically like a 6 month period, 5 month period, then like I have a whole life ahead of me and like you can just see that like personal improvement is something that can go on forever. And so as long as like I'm kind of just like committed to that, like being a better person, like I'm like excited that like, I've kind of gotten started this early and I'm like hopefully I'm like still effective like, all throughout my life. And just like kind of like just thinking about that, like I think is really cool. Like I don't know. I don't know if I put it into words really well, but just the idea of like, like basically being able to apply what I learned in a 6 month period and just like build on it for an entire lifetime. Like you won't there's not very many skills in my life that I'm gonna be able to do that with. So this is cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um I think that I think that it was like you said, Yash, I think it does bring a lot of more hope to the future. And I think that it does help me. I definitely feel a lot more hopeful, but I also feel, I don't know, it does give me a newfound sense of confidence in myself, I think, this assignment.
When all your family members and friends were all glazing you, wow, Jack, you're so moral and and you're so
I,
friendly.
I don't think that's how that happened.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how that happened. Wow, Jack, you're so moral and you follow the rules so well, and you
Yeah,
love
I
freedom.
don't think that's how it happened, bro.
Oh
Huh?
gosh. And I said, and you love freedom.
I
Anyways,
do love freedom. I'm a big freedom guy. This is true.
Andrew, you want to hit him with that next gen leaders outro?
Well, moving forward, we can support each other by checking in on our goals, and just giving honest feedback over the next couple years, and making sure we're each become more self-aware and effective leaders, like we said we would. So, thank you guys again. Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. See y'all.